So this morning I delivered a presentation to a business networking group here in Birmingham about why I'm an action coach, what we do, the kind of people that we're looking for. So I thought it'd be useful to record that session for anybody that I'm talking to in the future. So that's what I'm doing right now. So why do I do what I do? Well, this morning when I was talking to the group, I've been asked at the last minute at the weekend to do this presentation, and the media coverage at the weekend was about the passing of Caroline Flack, who took her own life. And that made me reflect on why I do what I do in coaching. And one of the reasons is the gentleman that you see now, Mr. Peter Boatman. He held a Queen's Police Medal, very, very brave individual. He helped bring Taser into the UK. I worked with him for many years, and 10 years ago, Raoul Moat was meandering around the moors up in Northumbria, and he took up to the police there some Taser shotguns that were under development at the time, being looked at by the Home Office. They used them. Unfortunately, they didn't work, basically because they missed, and the other one got embedded in some thick clothing. So it didn't deliver the effect, but it was all over Sky News, BBC, etc. at the time. Police use untested tasers. So the good friend Home Secretary at the time, Theresa May, was looking for someone to blame. And we, at the time as the distributor, were singled out as the company supplier. And Pete, as one of the directors, ex-police officer, was taking the blame for what he'd done and facing potential criminal charges. And he decided to take his own life. So for me today, as action coach, one of the big values of coaching is that no one should ever feel that alone. They should never feel that they have no choice, that they've got nobody to talk to, that they can't find a solution to their problems. Coaching is about more than education. It's about accountability. It's about being that unreasonable friend. So if an analogy I often use, and what I was talking about with the group this morning, is if you set yourself a target of taking a bike, for example, riding a bike round a circuit, and your target is you want to do it in 40 seconds. In business, very similar again, you have a variety of options as to what you can do. One of those options is to go out and get a contractor. Contractor, they'll ride the bike around the circuit for you. Another option is you could get a consultant. They'll tell you what you need to do to ride the bike around the circuit. You might even get a counsellor. They'll probably look at your childhood issues that are preventing you from riding the bike around the circuit. Or you could get a mentor, a cyclist who's done it before, who can tell you how they did it and say, watch me as I do it. But what a coach would do is they'd say, right, let's have a look. Show me riding around the bike. What does that look like? Let's time it. And if it takes 60 seconds, okay, how are we going to get from 60 to 40? You're going to practice every day? Right, I'll meet you here tomorrow morning. Yeah, so that's the value of a coach, to strategize as to how you're going to reach the goals that you want and to hold you account to get there. So what does Action Coach have that the 200,000 business coaches on LinkedIn today in the UK don't necessarily have? Well, we have proven methods that have been built over 25 years of working with businesses all around the world. I mean, it starts with a foundational structure, as we would describe it, of 6 steps to success. So that first step is about mastery. It's about understanding what the goals are, what your destination is, how you're going to get there. Time mastery, thinking about how you're managing your time, not just with you, but within the wider business. Do you know the numbers in your business? And from that, you can start to eliminate what might be chaos within a business and reach somewhat stability, a somewhat stable environment. And from that, you can start to figure out what is your niche? What is your unique selling point? Can you turn that into a guarantee? How many leads have you got coming into the business? What can we do to increase those? Of the leads that come in, what is your conversion rate? What can we do to improve that conversion rate? How many times do customers buy from you? What's the average value of that sale? And what are the margins like in your business? As we start to do that, we start to build efficiency, generate cash, and from that, we've got leverage as we start to utilize extra resources. That could be systems, it could be technology, could be starting to use people, building a team, a high-performing team. They need those goals, they need the environment, the culture, the vision, the mission. And from that, you can start to potentially have a general manager if you haven't got one already. And then you've got a business that's synergistic. It's a well-oiled machine, and it allows you to build what we define in Action Coach as a successful business, a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you. And at that point, as potentially the owner of the business, you can then act as an investor and have passive income and either grow the business to the next level, find an area of the business in which you excel and enjoy, or move on to something else. Rest assured that the business is successful. So why Action Coach? Well, we're approaching 100 countries around the world, but our core mission is to create world abundance through business re-education. And we do that very simply it's called re-education because quite often people know these things. A lot of what we do in Action Coach with businesses isn't rocket science. There's no magic secret to it all. You can go and read a book, go to a seminar and find out a lot of the things that we teach. Yes, we've brought it all together and we present it in a easy to understand and apply format. But the principle is, of all the businesses out there, if we can start to educate them on what they need to be focusing on to deliver high performing results, we can create that world abundance. Are we successful? Yes. Yeah, we're in 200 offices plus in the UK now, but I don't know how many of you are familiar with Net Promoter Score, but we have world-class levels of client advocacy. We have a Net Promoter Score of 77. Now, if you don't know much about that, compare that with some of the big brands like Apple and Samsung, who maybe only have 45, relatively speaking. So big brands, Apple in particular, massive raving fans for that product and the marketing behind it. Ritz-Carlton, Amazon, 50, 69. And actually, Action Coach and Costco up there in the 70s, interestingly enough. So how do we provide this business re-education? What is our product ladder that we articulate? Now, we have a product ladder, so there's something for everyone. We want to help businesses of any size, whether they're startup right through to multinationals. So the first thing that we often do with clients, we have a system called Profit Plus, which enables us to work with businesses to strategically plan. So we deliver these invariably as workshops, which we charge £995 a day for. Most businesses, we recommend a 3-day program. So the first day, we look at what's called a 7 key driver assessment, which works on the previous 4 years of financials. Input those into our system and start to work to find where are the issues that we can deliver value in the short term, medium term and long term. And then the second day, which some people just go straight in with the planning day, as we call it. At the end of that day, we deliver a very comprehensive 1-page business plan. So it's really high level at this stage, looking at the vision, the mission, what are the objectives. And then on the third day, we're really getting into the detail of the numbers, the goals, objectives, the deliverables. And from that, we produce a 40, 80-page business plan, which is investor ready. So if you need to take that to a bank or you're looking for equity funders, that's what's deliverable. From that, we then have actually our entry-level product. All of our clients are members of this, but some people are just members of our Growth Club. So assuming that you've got, even if you can't go through the full workshops, that you've got a 5-year plan or even a 1-year plan. So you've got some rough kind of goals. You need to break those down into much smaller goals. And that's what we do in Growth Club. Every 90 days, we get together and write a plan for the coming 90 days and a bit of a review of the previous 90 days as we go on the journey. We also have monthly webinars to check in which are designed specifically for those who just come to our growth club. On top of that, we have Action Club, which is our educational program. We meet fortnightly for a couple of hours or weekly on an hour webinar with clients, and we work through those 6 steps that I was talking about earlier: number mastery, time mastery, vision mastery. And so clients embarking on this program, and it's a continuing program. Yeah, once we get to the conclusion, we often go back, because how many of us can remember what we did 12 months ago and value from the re-education as I was talking about. But the real coaching starts to come, less of the education in the coaching is the accountability piece. And we do that in 2 ways. The first is a mentor club, a kind of mastermind group format, where we bring together maybe 3 or 4 business owners to be coached, and the coaching will be split between those owners. But the beauty of the mastermind format is we all get value from seeing how others are dealing with potentially different problems, but with similar ways of solving them. So that's our mentor club program. That starts from $250 up to £1,000 a month, depending on the intensity of the program, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. And again, we work one-on-one with businesses. Now, when I say one-on-one, that could be literally one-on-one with a business owner. It could be one-on-one with a chief exec, a finance director, an operations director. In the larger businesses, we tend to work with multiple senior executives. And yeah, that can vary. It depends on what the goal is that the business is trying to achieve, and then we can help on that. We then do team alignment and training days. So these usually run to about £2,000 a day. Obviously, there's preparatory work and follow up afterwards. And that's in the larger businesses, again, where you've got the teams to align those teams with the goals, and then maybe look at specifically sales content. We have sales rich and service rich for customer service, and then business rich as a more generic. So there we have our product ladder. So we've got a variety of offerings, obviously at different price points. And people often say, well, you know, how can I justify that investment? So I talked earlier about how we work with businesses to establish what your niche is. So our niche is that we work with businesses to deliver value. But we're so confident in what we do, because we're in nearly 100 countries around the world, been doing it 25 plus years, that we've turned that into a guarantee. And that guarantee is that if you don't see results within the business within the first 6 months from the investment in our programs, we will refund the difference. So if you sign up for a £300 a quarter program, we'll guarantee that you'll get £300 worth of value in your business. If it's a £3,000 a month program, we will deliver £3,000 a month of extra profit into your business. Now, that's not us writing a check or aiming for a zero-sum game. There needs to be effort on both sides, but that's what coaching's about, that we are committed together to achieving the results that we agree on. So if you're not quite ready for one of our full programs, we also have taster sessions. We run a monthly book club down at the Lost and Found. That's £50 a session, which covers the book and a drink at the bar. And the idea of that is just bringing together people talking about a business book that we've all read, sharing lessons and learnings from that. We also do a leverage game, which we've put together, kind of goes through some of those 5 ways of niche that I was talking about a few minutes ago. So that's, again, £50, you know, get together, have a few drinks, quite a social event. We can even put it on for the larger businesses as a team exercise within the business, or we work with networking groups to do the same. So what can you do to help me? I say that because we're all about referrals. Every time I sit with a business owner, I want to understand who they want to be connected with, because I've got a network, and that's how we all help each other. So anybody that's asking, what is my business worth? Well, we have a tool that will, based on a 10-minute questionnaire filled in online, instantly give you a score, as well as a monetary valuation. Although, without spoiling the result, things in life are only worth what someone else is prepared to pay you for them. So a lot of the the financial number stuff turns into, you know, how much cash is there in the business and assets and so forth. But actually what's the more interesting thing is, how do you score, and how do you score relative to similar businesses in your industry? And the interesting exercise for us in sitting down and looking at that report with you is, what can you do to increase that score? And that's a really interesting exercise. So we're always happy to engage on that level. Quite often we hear, my team isn't engaged with what I'm trying to do. So we have a tool called Engagement Multiplier, which we can offer free to any business. And what it will do is it will send out a survey, which we put together with you electronically, to anonymously as well, if you want it to be, amongst your employees, to gauge that engagement. Back from those results, we'll then sit down within that 7 days with you to review those results, get the Engagement Multiplier team involved as well, because they develop this software platform, and see how engaged they are. And again, yeah, maybe there are steps that you can take, in which case you can go away and do those, but we'd love to sit down and talk about that. And there's no obligation on that. Also, people say they're unsure about digital marketing. So we have a tool, again, which can give you a free website audit. It'll look at your mobile performance, security, SEO rankings, etc., and have a more engaged discussion about your marketing strategy, your digital strategy in particular, how that sits with your wider business objectives, and what we can do to potentially help in that regard as well. So when you're talking to people, listen for time, team, and money. If people are looking to get more time, make more money, get better results from their team, those are the kind of triggers for a conversation with ActionCOACH. And finally, there are 3 types of people in business, interestingly enough. And these were described to me, and I love to think in this way. So the first are craftspeople. So a lot of people are in business because they're fundamentally just good at what they do, which is great. They're striving to be the master of their own trade. Then you've got freedom fighters who are motivated by independence. So really they're in business because they don't want to work for someone else, but they get pride from the accomplishment of being independent. But then we also have mountain climbers. These are people that really look for challenge. They're looking to grow the business, and they're the ones that will talk about the 5-year, the 10-year goals. And frankly, in ActionCOACH, the best type of people that we work with are the people that have the mountain climber in them, because they want to get somewhere and we can help them get there. So thank you very much for listening to this brief presentation. I'm Glenn Cameron from ActionCOACH. We'd love to discuss this further. If any of the tools sound of interest to you, or anything else that we've said, let's book in a call and have a conversation.